You're listening to The Lyndia Grant Show. Think on these things with Lyndia Grant.
Well, good evening, Radio 1 listeners. You're listening to the Lyndia Grant Show, Spirit 1340 WYCB. We're so glad you tuned in with us today. We are the oldest gospel radio station in the country, and we are the first contemporary gospel outlet in the United States. Today is Friday, February 25th, and we're in the middle of Black History Month, and we're excited. We're happy you've joined us live from Detroit today. We're in Detroit, Michigan. We have a very special show for you. Dr. Jullianne Malveaux, who usually does politics, has been out sick. So she gave me permission to just use the whole show to talk about this outstanding HBCU, the only HBCU in the entire state of Michigan. Tell somebody. Send them the link. Tell them we're broadcasting live. All right, I want to say hello to all of my sorority sisters of Gamma Phi Delta Sorority Incorporated. I know you all are out there listening. And especially I want to say hello to our national president, Lenore R. Reese. How are you today, Madam President?
I am doing well. Thank you for having me.
I am so glad you could come on real quick in the beginning of the show just to congratulate Lewis College of Business for coming back as Pensole Lewis College of Business and Design.
Yeah.
Go ahead and give them your greetings.
All right. Thank you again for the opportunity. And to the esteemed Dr. Ponders, my sister and my soror, and to the esteemed Dr. Edwards, congratulations on making this moment happen. The board of directors and members of Gamma Phi Delta Incorporated are so excited about the establishment of Pensole Lewis College of Business and Design. Our sorority was founded at Lewis Business College by two visionary women. Elizabeth Garner and Violet T. Lewis was the president and founder of Lewis Business College. It is wonderful to know that their legacy will continue for years to come. And as we celebrate our Founders Day on February 28th, it is even more meaningful this year because our founders' dream of providing educational opportunities in our communities is alive and well under the Pensole Lewis College of Business and Design banner. So congratulations, Dr. Ponders and Dr. Edwards, and thank you so much for making this happen.
All right. Thank you, Madam President. And I want to also say hello to any of the members of the Gamma Phi Delta Foundation Incorporated, where I serve as the national president. Welcome, Gamma Phi Delta Sorority and Foundation. And welcome also listeners all over the country, wherever you are, especially those of you in the Washington community. Thank you for tuning in to our show today. We're going to celebrate the college where this great sorority was founded back in 1943. You just heard the president talk about that. All right, well, I'm going to just jump right in right now and welcome Dr. Violet Ponders. I want to just hear your voice, Dr. Ponders. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you, Madam Supreme. You're a surprise.
Yes, it was. I'll be working. I got to keep working at all times. That's all I can say. So, but I want to say hello to Dr. Ponders, and I want to say hello to our president as well.
I'm here, Lyndia. Can we check his line?
Okay, yeah.
Are you talking about Dwayne?
I hear you now.
Yes,
so it's
Dr.
fine.
Edwards.
Yes, I am here. I'm sorry about that. I am here.
Okay, good. No problem. I just wanted to make sure I had everybody. So,
Yes.
Dr. Ponders, we're going to go to you first. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Dr. Ponders, talk to us a little bit. So for anyone who out there today is listening and they're not familiar with Lewis College of Business, tell them some of the highlights, and then we're going to go to Dr. Dwayne Edwards so he can bring us up to date on what's happening now.
Actually, Lewis Business College was founded in Indianapolis, Indiana, in 1928, beginning of the Great Depression. The college moved to Detroit at the request of the Chamber of Commerce because there was much more business in the city of Detroit than there was in Indianapolis, and there was a greater need for office-trained personnel here. At one point, Dr. Lewis ran the college both in Indianapolis and the one here in Detroit. She found that to be a bit overwhelming. The college in Detroit was growing much faster. So she closed the school in Indianapolis, and she totally moved, which included moving her two daughters, my mother and her sister, my mother Phyllis Ponders and her sister Marjorie Harris, here to Detroit. She initially had a school on McGraw Street. That building has been torn down. And then after a couple of years, she bought some property at the corner of John R. and Ferry. That property was in then the known cultural center. She was not welcome there because of the color of her skin. And she had to work hard and fast to figure out how she could stay there. She was famous for, if you don't know how to do it, you find the brightest and best who can. So she did that. Her legal team included the late Senator John Conyers, the late Judge Damon Keith, the late attorney Herman Anderson, and together they came up with a plan to make the college a nonprofit. Lewis was on John R. and Ferry for many, many years. And in 1976, we moved to Myers and Curtis. The college went from just awarding certificates and diplomas to awarding degrees. That's a brief history of the college. In between that time, my grandmother founded my grandmother and my great aunt founded Gamma Phi Delta sorority. It was born at the college, and I am proud to be a member and proud to say that we are still growing strong.
Amen. Thank you so much, Dr. Ponders, for that brief overview of Gamma Phi Delta sorority. At Lewis College of Business, and showing how Gamma Phi Delta sorority got involved. All right, well, we're going to go now to talk about what's going on today. I am so pleased to have been invited to Detroit, Michigan, by the office of Senator Marsha Bullock. His chief of staff, Bobby Lawrence, invited me to tell me that the Michigan Legislative Black Caucus was hosting their annual Founders Day program. They have been doing the celebration virtual because of COVID, and this was their coming out again. They were going to be celebrating live and in person, and it has really turned out wonderful. So now the keynote speaker today at the program was Dr. Dwayne Edwards, and he gave such a marvelous speech and got a little emotional. And so we want to talk to you now, Dr. Lawrence, Dr. Edwards. And so I'm going to have him start, and then we're going to go to a commercial break, and then we'll come back and finish the second half, okay? Just say hello, and then we're going to talk to you about it in more intense after the commercial break.
Sounds good. Hello, my name is Dr. Dwayne Edwards, the president of Pencil Lewis College of Business and Design here in Detroit, Michigan. Mm-hmm. Would you like for me to continue, or how far would you like for me to go before we go to break?
Oh, you could just say, you can talk about today a little bit, and then we'll go into more details after the commercial break.
All right. Today was an emotional day. I mean, as you witnessed, as I talked about on stage, I had no prepared words, no script. I always speak from the heart, even if I did. And today was really another culmination of just how important this venture of reopening colleges means so much to a lot of people here in the city of Detroit, as well as I met a few people from Indianapolis today, actually, where being able to be a part of the Michigan Black Caucus and hear from the governor And it's always beautiful to hear Dr. Violet Ponders speak as well. She spoke amazing words today, just as she did on the press conference day as well, where I'm always reminded of just how important this is, not only to myself and to the future of these Black students that will attend the college, but even to the people who are former alumni of Lewis College. And to be able to witness the love and the outpouring that was in the room today, and the outpouring of support from the state as well as the city, that becomes that additional reminder and that boost to really elevate what we're looking to try to achieve with the college reopening.
All right. Well, we're going to stop and go to a commercial break first, and we're going to come back and delve into this thing a little bit more. You're listening to the Lyndia Grant Show live from Detroit, Michigan. We're so excited to be here. We are in town for the annual Michigan Legislative Black Caucus, who celebrated the reopening of Lewis College of Business, Pembroke, and we are so excited that Pensole Lewis College of Business is going to be what we'll be talking about after our commercial break. Back in a moment.
If it wasn't for my care coach at AmeriHealth, I probably wouldn't be so healthy right now. As a man, we don't get checkups or see a doctor regularly anyways. It's probably just a man thing because none of my partners go either. We know we should, but we just don't, and hope it works out.
So what changed for you?
AmeriHealth assigned me a care coach, somebody that gives one-on-one help, answer questions, explain things, and help set my appointments. She also helped me understand what having high blood pressure really means and ways to manage it so it doesn't kill me. It ain't nothing to play with. If you're a member of AmeriHealth, ask for a care coach. I'm glad I got mine.
At AmeriHealth, if you need a care coach, you can have one. Just call us at 1-877-759-6224 to get connected. 1-877-759-6224. This program is funded in part by the government of the District of Columbia Department of Healthcare Finance. Mayor Muriel Bowser.
Washington and former religion columnist Lyndia Grant.
Ida B. Wells, born into enslavement, was a journalist and activist. An avid reader, she read through the entire Bible many times. Wells was once asked to leave the ladies' car and sit in the colored train. She refused and train officials pushed her. Ida B. Wells retaliated but was pushed off the train at the next stop. A crowd of whites applauded. She vowed to get even. 3 of her close friends were lynched for opening businesses that cut into profits of whites. Everything changed for Wells. She spoke out internationally against lynching of blacks for the rest of her life. Through her efforts, lynching in America nearly disappeared by the time of her death. An NAACP founder, we salute Ida B. Wells for Women's History Month.
Read more in the religion column of the Washington Informer, an award-winning African-American newspaper. We don't report crime or gossip, just positive news. Pick up the Washington Informer or visit us online at WashingtonInformer.com. Call 202-561-4100 for more information.
This is Frank Smith with the African American Civil War Museum in Washington, D.C., located at 1925 Vermont Avenue Northwest on the Green Line. Did you know that a recent study found that children who visit museums do better in school and in life than children who do not? So parents, teachers, and preachers, let's get moving. I promise you, if you bring your children to the African American Civil War Museum, they will be inspired by the images that they see. They will be impressed by our living history reenactors who are always available, and they will be involved in our scavenger hunt that takes them throughout our exhibit. That's the African American Civil War Museum, 1925 Vermont Avenue. Our hours are 10 to 6:30 on weekdays, 12 to 4 on Saturdays and Sundays. See it. Be inspired.
Okay, we are back. Lyndia Grant Show, Radio 1, Washington, broadcasting live from Detroit, Michigan. We're talking with Dr. Violet Ponders and Dr. Dwayne Edwards. Before we went to our commercial break, Dr. Edwards was talking to us about how he got involved. Dr. Edwards, I just want to ask this question. Someone asked me today, how did you get this idea? They wanted to know, how did this come about? You live all the way in Inglewood, California. And how did this happen? Just tell us briefly.
Yes, I mean, the idea of partnering with the Lewis College of Business.
Yes, that's right. How did you find Lewis College of Business?
Yes, so it was a conversation I was having with one of my alumni who was born and raised here in Detroit. And we were just having a conversation around HBCUs and how actually CPS could actually do a better job of connecting with historically black colleges to increase their African American enrollment. And towards the end of the conversation, we just threw out like, "Hey, I think Detroit used to have an HBCU, but I'm not sure." And so after the phone call, I hung up and immediately jumped on Google, and there it was. There was Dr. Violet Lewis, and there was the college. I spent all night reading every single article I can get my hands on, and then that's when I read in some of the articles that there were attempts to bring the college back a few times since its closing in 2013, and so to me, like, that was hope. And so I looked up the last known location on Myers, and there was the realtor's name and phone number still in the building, and I called, and the realtor connected me with the Gillespie family, and then eventually I connected with Violet Ponders and Stephanie Ponders, and we had a conversation. I shared with them what my vision was for the college and bringing it back. The idea of bringing it back as a design and business school, it's really answering a need for the product industry that creates shoes, cars, clothes, household products, any type of product. These industries have been dying for black talent for decades, and they just weren't able to secure that talent from the traditionally white institutions. And then there's only a few HBCUs that have design programs as well. And so as the academy, when I was in Portland, we got a lot of that attention from the footwear industry, and they were supporting what we were doing. And inevitably, the other industries started to reach out to us and say, "Hey, we can't find quality black talent in our traditional PWIs and HBCUs." And so for us to look at, merging with Lewis College and creating that emphasis on design and business, that just opens up so many more opportunities for our young black people in a trillion-dollar industry with a T, trillion-dollar industry of companies that makes products.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that is exciting. Now, when you talk about design, I think we all have an idea about the business classes. What kind of design courses are you talking about?
We are talking about my sweet spot, which I've spent the last 3 decades doing, is footwear design. We're talking about apparel and accessories design, so apparel, purses, bags. We're talking about packaging design, so anything you have in your closet, in your kitchen, someone has to design that packaging, the graphics, the shape, the container, all of that has to be designed by someone. We're talking about furniture design, interior design, automotive design, user experience design. So what user experience design is when you go to a website, and the idea is if that website is easy for you to navigate through that website, that's a quality user experience designed website. If it's not, then that's bad user experience design. And so we'll teach user experience, we'll teach gaming design, as well as I think I mentioned furniture design as well.
Okay. Well, I like what I'm hearing. This sounds really great. Now what I want to do is segue into tell our folks how they can register and when this opening is going to take place.
Yes, thank you. Our first class will be on May 2nd. We're partnering with Carhartt, which is an authentic Detroit brand. We will bring in 30 students that Carhartt will cover all of their tuition and housing. So the students will just have to pay to get here, or if they're local, they can just drive up. What we're doing differently is for the students who live in Detroit, they still stay in our corporate housing. We want to immerse our students in the full experience of what we're trying to create for them. And after that,
Dr. Edwards, what is Carhartt? What does Carhartt mean?
I'm sorry, Carhartt is a probably 120-year-old brand that makes workwear, apparel, and footwear.
Okay.
So if you're a farmer, if you're an electrician, if you do construction, they make those clothes that keep those workers safe.
Okay, I understand now. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. We accept registration at PensaLewis.com, PensaLewisCollege.com, sorry. We'll have, like I said, Carhartt is our first class, but we'll have classes throughout the whole year that range from programs with Adidas, programs with New Balance, programs with luxury brands like Jimmy Choo and Versace, other programs with retailers like J. Crew and Foot Locker. We have a wide variety of programs that we have for this year that are all free for students to attend. And each of our programs, a kid more than one would qualify for an internship, a paid internship at these organizations.
Oh, this sounds really exciting. This is sounding great. So they can start registering now.
They can start registering right now. For our first class, our registration closes, I believe, on April 6th, I believe. But then we'll open up registration for the next class about a week or two right after. So if they don't make it in the first session, we're going to have another 7 more sessions throughout the rest of the year. We'll inevitably end up serving just this year alone close to 300 students this year.
Wonderful. Well, let's just go to our closing remarks now. Dr. Ponders, why don't you encourage the people a little bit more and give them your close?
I hope you have picked up the enthusiasm that Dr. Edwards has. Lewis College was successful in its past, and its future is even brighter. Part of what we received today from the Michigan Legislative Black Caucus, we actually received signed copies of the bill that makes Pencil Lewis College of Business and Design officially recognized as an HBCU by the state of Michigan. We're grateful to Representative Joe Tate and Senator Marshall Lewis and all of the other representatives of the Michigan Black Caucus, as well as their Republican supporters, in making this a reality. It's just one more cog in the wheel that makes Pencil Lewis as great as we all want it to be, and we all know it will be.
All right, and thank you to Governor Gretchen Whitmer for signing that bill as well. All right, Dr. Edwards, give us your close.
I am truly, truly honored. I know Dr. Ponders has heard me say this before, but having the support of her personally and her sisters, that gives me so much more energy to really do right by not only their grandparents, but both sides of the family, to make sure that we do continue on the legacy and to ensure that people are reminded of who Dr. Lewis was and the impact she had, not just on Indianapolis, but also the city of Detroit, as well as also the city of Cleveland. That has been my main focus and desire from the beginning with this opportunity, is just to make sure we honor this woman that, as I mentioned today, I was ashamed that I did not know of her before I started reading about her in 2020. And I want to make sure that future young Black people are aware of her impact and also the legacy that we're hoping to really further carry on with Pencil Lewis College.
All right. Well, thank you both for being my guest today. We got to go to our close. Subscribe to our YouTube page. Go to YouTube, The Lyndia Grant Show, and a copy will show up in your email every week. Thank you for tuning in to today's show. Next Friday, we're going to have some people on from Washington, D.C., talking about renaming the Lamont Riggs Library in Northeast in memory of my dear friend, the late Mrs. Lillian J. Huff. She's supported even by Mayor Sharon Pratt. Also, I would like to invite you all out to my church in Washington, D.C. We are going to go back live in person on Sunday, March 6th. the All Nations Baptist Church, where our pastor is Reverend Dr. James Coleman. Words, thoughts, and deeds have a boomerang effect, so be careful what you send out. Scripture says, my people perish for the lack of knowledge. So think on these things from the Lyndia Grant Show. I want to just encourage everybody that our theme comes from Philippians 4:6, which says, think on these things. Until next week, I'm your host, Lyndia Grant. Good day.
Thank you for listening to the Lyndia Grant Show. Think on these things with your host, Lyndia Grant.